Hi, my name is Rosalie López, and we're here at the University Art Museum at California State University, Long Beach. We're standing here in front of two of my artworks up for Call and Response exhibition. When I say, you say, Slanguage curated exhibition. These two pieces are commemorative pieces to my mother and my uncle. So a lot of my work deals with Day of the Dead practices and remembrance, and I mix my printmaking practice and my papel picado work along with my cultural history, working with luminarias and religious kitsch iconography mixed together to create these memorial pieces for my two family members. The idea came about a few years ago when we were placing flowers on my brother's grave, and in the wintertime it snows, so you put artificial flowers so that the flowers could stay a little bit longer. So that moment made me realize that I wanted to make my own commemorative flowers with my own family members in them, and so that evolved into creating these sort of niche boxes that definitely reference retablos and nichos of Catholic religion, but with my family members in them. So I use lights to harken back to that 80s style or early 90s even of cheesy waterfall boxes that you would put in your living room and plug in, and they take this photo and make it some sort of moving, sort of cheesy decoration for your living room. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely inspired by that. I started mixing papel picado techniques along with my printmaking because I was thinking about cut paper being incorporated along with the multiple. Mm-hmm. So printmaking being a medium that has a history about being affordable and being long spread for the people. I wanted to combine that with cut paper, which is an ephemeral, something that fades away and deteriorates over time. So to combine that method along with printmaking and the lights, sort of make it this luminaria style. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm bringing together for these pieces. So the images I chose because they were my family members in their most powerful positions to me in documentation and photographs that I have. So my mother's image is taken out of a family photograph that we took while we were all kids and she first got divorced, and she was in her woman's power suit that was very iconic for the early 90s with the shoulder pads and her hair done all up, and she used to do my hair just like hers, so in the family photo I have the crown just like her. And so I took this photo of my mom and I cropped her image out and I made it like sort of like a cutout you would see on a dollar bill or something that frames the image. And I put her in there in black and white, and she has these vibrant lights because I wanted to show her vibrant energy, mm-hmm. and it circles around until it culminates around the heart. Mm-hmm. For my uncle, this was a photo I took of him, and he didn't like taking photographs, but if you ask him to take a photograph, he would say, "Hold on, let me pose," and he'd give you this is how he wants you to pose, how he wants to portray himself, his sort of Vato Stance. Mm-hmm. So he posed for me like this, and it was taken in front of our old family home that my grandpa grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it was one of the last photos I was able to take of him before he passed away. Oh, but wow. He meant a lot to me because he was the man who inspired me to be an artist. Mm-hmm. He was definitely a self-taught, creative man who learned a lot of his skill sets while he was in jail. Mm-hmm. So a lot of his artwork was work dealing with pencils and pens, and he also was in a minimal security prison, so he would be able to use metalwork and woodworking into his artwork. And so he would come home from jail and stay with us, and I would be so inspired by how creative and how awesome it was that he could create things out of anything, it seemed like. So I try to harness that resourcefulness and also pay homage to those who inspired me and showed me how to be strong and how to be resilient in life. So that's what these two pieces are about. A lot of what I do is combine this like high end and low end together. So this idea of cheapy kitsch iconography, but at the same time looking also something of very high end or cleaner and crisper. So to mix those things together, I also think usually these saints look so beautiful and pristine, and I'm showing people in their real garb with wrinkles and just natural. And I think their clothing, their faces are people that are familiar, and to people where I came from and where my community is from. So it mixes that upper brow and low brow, which is totally what this exhibition is about. And showing how artists from the local area can still connect to pop culture and high culture while still talking about community-rooted ideas and a different form of storytelling that doesn't get told a lot in the institution. So that juxtaposition of that high and the low is definitely something that I play with, and not just the mediums of artwork that I'm working with, but the content and even the titles. Mami in her prime and Theo and Vato Stance have these playful names where they're not even, it's Spanglish mixed together, like me. Mixing both together and making it somewhat of a squatchic styling. So I like that mixture, and I think that those combinations of items are what I see happening in connection with a lot of people's work here, and in relationship to people like Lee Krasner and Andy Warhol. I could definitely see a connection there. Rosalie López, exemplifying people in their own proud stances. That woman with the iguana on top of her head, and how she has this appearance, she's almost looking up. So I could see that relationship and creating someone from your personal life or everyday surrounding and making them into something more honorable in the way that they are standing. Yeah.
No, I think that
their posture.
Their posture,
their body being in a powerful stance and not being something that you would consider typically of a higher end or higher class, and so that conversation is definitely happening, I feel like, in many people's work in the show, as well as my pieces here.
Yeah, I like that we're kind of creating a whole set of symbols to connect different families, right, with each other, and
definitely
empower communities.
Through sharing family stories.
Sharing family stories.
I found out that Marlene and our family are both from the same area of New Mexico, so
so
that's coincidental.
I know, we all have all these things in common, and we don't know until we start telling our stories, right? So, and that's a really beautiful thing about this exhibition. I think people are really given an opportunity to share what's authentic to them and what it means to them and how they relate to the world and interact, and how kind of art pushes all that forward. So you, like Marlene, are also a CSULB alum, and you got your degree in printmaking, is that right?
Yeah, I got a double BFA in printmaking and graphic design. I started off here at Cal State Long Beach as a graphic design major with an emphasis in marketing, and maybe about a year and a half before graduating, I really started getting into printmaking. And at that time, they would allow you to get a double BFA. I was one of the few at the end to get that ability. Now they make you go through it all over again.
Oh my gosh.
So I stayed a little extra and I studied printmaking a little bit more, and I liked it so much. Transitioning from that commercial world and thinking about making money with your ideas, I started to feel more connected to communicating my own story and my own ideas, which is why I wanted to continue with printmaking. I also enjoyed the labor and getting to know the craft, and there's something about that labor in printmaking that makes it such a tangible medium, and the history that it comes from. I think that the history of spreading stories and voice and news, that history being combined with this is why I was really attracted to it. The graphic design world, I think, taught me so much as a student here. It was a super competitive program, and most students were staying around a lot longer than they needed to for a bachelor's degree to get that degree here. So I had to be very competitive and work really hard. I actually tried twice to get into the program, and the third time I finally got in, so it was a big deal. And then once I got in, I started becoming more interested in printmaking. So it was the collaborative work environment too, I think was also really exciting. And what also started to get me involved with Slanguage, because it was that collaborative working environment with like-minded people, and I really enjoyed that. So Cal State Long Beach had a really wonderful program for that, just the arts in general. It taught me a lot about my foundations and really about what you need to be doing in order to be good at your craft. And then I feel like in grad school I definitely honed in on what it is I want to say and how I want to say it, and in what way I want the viewer to experience my work. So yeah, it was a great progression for me. I'm really glad that I came here to Cal State Long Beach. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And what advice, if any, would you give to a young student who's maybe struggling to figure out what path they want to take, or is trying to take their art study here to take the next step and to trying to be in a gallery show, or, you know, contacting community arts organizations, or any advice you would give to them?
I think people make artwork for different reasons. People study art for different reasons. I don't think that everyone's meant to be an artist in some ways, or have it be their professional full-on career. Yeah. I think I still struggle with that too. I teeter on both sides of education and art making, and I enjoy where those two meet. But I think that artwork exists for so many different reasons, and you can't assume that everyone's going to be having a particular path. So I think understanding why you want to make artwork and how you want it to grow is going to help you decide where you want to take it. Because you definitely need a lot of persistence and resiliency and hard work to get in places that are, I guess, a lot harder to get your voice heard. And not everyone has that goal to be in that place or have that certain type of voice. So I guess I would say that if you want to become an artist, whatever you do, work hard, get out there, get to know people, hone your craft, and yeah, have fun, experiment, challenge yourself.
That's great advice. Okay, any closing words, things you that are on the tip of your tongue that you wanted to mention, or okay?
Never forget to give back, give to the seeds. We get so focused on what we want to do and what our goals are. I think it's important to think about the little ones and the next generation, and giving to them the things that we wish we had.
Yes.
Giving the gifts that we've been blessed with in our lives and passing it down to that next generation, because they are going to be the one to continue to change things and make things happen. So I think that through education and following your goals, your dreams, you're going to end up being in a great place. So keep it going, keep inspiring that next generation.
Awesome.